From the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, one game down, another to go on the men's side of the bracket. It's the Trojans of Anderson University and the Bears of Lenoir-Rhyne. We welcome you inside our broadcast facility. I'm Tyler Katz, joined alongside my color analyst for today's game, Andrew Rogers. Andrew, you take a look at these two teams. Lenoir-Rhyne swept the season series both by double digits. What does Anderson have to do to get the job done today?
Certainly, Tyler, we're all familiar with the phrase, hard to beat a team 3 times. Anderson hopes that's the case today, but Lenoir-Rhyne in those first 2 meetings shot above 50%. So can Anderson improve defensively from their first 2 meetings? But this is a high-powered Lenoir-Rhyne offense.
And meanwhile, you take a look at Lenoir-Rhyne under first-year head coach Brent Owen. He's completely turned this program around.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible year that this group has had. 23 wins, 5 losses. They were 1 game back of the regular season champions, Lincoln Memorial, in the win column. Went toe-for-toe with the Rail Splitters all regular season. What Brent Owen has done with a lot of returners and some new players has been very impressive. And this is a really good Bears team that the 7th seed Anderson will have its hands full with today.
25-5, 20-4 in conference play. You take a look at 2 players who you really want to take a look at in this game. Starting with Lenoir-Rhyne, Andrew, who stands out to you in this starting lineup?
Yeah, it's got to be Zaire Wells. He has been terrific all season long. An all-SAC third-teamer, averaged 17 points per game. The efficiency is so impressive, 55%. Shoots 41%. Won't take a ton of threes, only makes 24 in the regular season, but does shoot a good clip from there. And then Anderson's A.J. Wright. He is a fascinating point guard to watch. Scores it at 11 points per game, can shoot the ball from the outside, but is an elite distributor of the basketball. 6 assists per game. It's the top mark in the South Atlantic Conference and 6th most nationally. These 2 guys are going to be on full display. They both have to play well for their respective teams to win.
Now, this is a 2-7 matchup, of course, but it doesn't quite feel like that with how close the matchups have been. Taking a look at our bracket today, Lincoln Memorial already advancing with an 85-67 win over Wingate. The winner of this contest will play tomorrow's 2:30 contest winner between 3rd-seeded Coker and 6th-seeded Catawba. That's another game to watch out for tomorrow at 2:30, Andrew.
Yeah, there's a lot of good quarterfinal matchups. Lincoln Memorial had a lot of success in our first quarterfinal game with third defense leading to offense, and this one will present certainly a lot of that we saw in the first quarterfinal as well. But all these games are so important. March basketball, season's on the line. Lenoir-Rhyne's a regionally ranked team, so their NCAA tournament hopes are much higher than an Anderson squad that's 16-12. But when you get to March, every possession matters. These 2 teams know it. All 8 teams in the South Atlantic Conference men's basketball tournament know that as well.
It's Wells, Martin, Lewis, June, Smith, and Dozier on the floor for LR. Wright, Webb, Jones, Perez, and Middleton take the floor for the Trojans as we're underway from Rock Hill in our second quarterfinal of this Tuesday afternoon. Wells, your player to watch, newcomer of the year and first-team All-SAC. Dozier tries to fight his way through traffic, can't get it to fall. Anderson, you mentioned the leadership of A.J. Wright Jr., who controls the basketball and rolls it back to the top of the key. This Anderson squad, it's less so about one specific player and more so that spread scoring. You take a look at this, both these teams, a top 15 matchup nationally in assists per game. Anderson ranks 15th, Lenoir-Rhyne 9th. So these are 2 teams that love to share the wealth, spread the basketball, and score any way possible, Andrew.
Absolutely. It's the 2 point guards. We talked about A.J. Wright as Tay Smith fires a 3 and buries it. And then you've got Julian Dozier for Lenoir-Rhyne that averages 5.5 assists per game. Those 2, the head of the snake for this, for both of these teams to have quality offenses and good assist-to-turnover ratios.
Anderson needing to respond quickly after a big triple on the other end from LR. There's that solid passing we always talk about. Looking for a shot behind the basket was Wright. Instead, he'll look out to Webb. Anderson just 3 to shoot. Shot clock running down. And a hook shot at the buzzer can't fall.
Good defensive sequence by Lenoir-Rhyne. Anderson had some openings. They were able to move the basketball well, but couldn't get any good looks to shoot the ball until late in the clock.
3-0, Lenore Rhine in front. It's a loose ball turnover. The Trojans on the fast break and just right led Dallas Jones a bit too much. Luckily tipped out for Anderson by LR, and it stays on the Trojans' end of the floor.
Both these teams, Tyler, want to get out and run, and that time Anderson was trying to take advantage of Lenore Ryan's first turnover, but good transition defense by the Bears.
Webb fights his way inside, gets the first bucket for Anderson.
Austin Webb quietly a really strong player, just 6'2", but can score inside and outside, very balanced in terms of his shots from beyond the arc and inside the arc this season. 15 points per game for him.
Webb, the team leader in scoring with just under 15 points per game as Smith fires another triple and it side irons out. Bonks off the head of Julian Dozier and goes out of bounds. We've had some wonky plays today between this game and LMU Wingate, that just wrapped up.
That was a doubleheader, too. Hit off of his head initially and then a second time to go out of bounds.
Andrew, do we need to go down and tell him it's not the soccer championships? A blocked pass, or blocked shot, I should say. It's going the other way. LR looks to Wells, got his pocket picked by Webb. In transition, lays off glass, and Anderson has its first lead of the ball game at 4-3.
Now we talk about how important the assists and the point guards is. There's a block by Anderson. Turnovers are critical as well, so not just the assist category, but which team takes better care of the ball. Right now it's been Anderson early.
Few turnovers for both sides. Odd pass out. It works for Jones, who can't quite find the three ball. 3 minutes down, 7 combined points in what we're expecting to be a very entertaining 7-2 matchup. And there's another poor pass from Lenore Ryan. It seems like they've thrown caution to the wind when trying to pass the ball around on the Bears' offensive side of the court.
And what's important about that is Lenore Ryan, 7th in the league this year in turnovers per game. Anderson is dead last in the South Atlantic Conference in turnovers. So if the Trojans can play this caliber of defense and then limit the turnovers on their offensive side, that makes for great success for Jimmy Williams' team.
Brent Owen, coach of the year on the other bench for the maroon and white and Lenore Ryan. Back out Trojans looking to extend what is currently a 1-point lead. Nice move by Rapace. Back out, good save by Webb, and there's a shot clock violation. It almost snuck up on you there. It looked like Anderson was calm and patient, and it seemed no one, including myself, was looking at the shot clock based off how calm they were.
That's twice now that Anderson has had to go deep into the clock to get a shot up. They barely get one there with Webb just heaving one from near mid-court. But Lenore Ryan, we talk about this 88 points per game offensively, but quietly this season, 5th in scoring defense. Teams don't shoot a high percentage against them, so you can't forget about how elite this defense can be at times.
Well, Anderson counteracts that, 3rd in the league in scoring defense, so 2 of the best defensive teams are going at it here in Rock Hill in quarterfinal number 2. Lewis June, who's a sneakily good player for the Bears, dishes it off to Smith, who finds his second triple. 6 points for the Bears. All of them belong to number 3, Tay Smith. Tay for Trey ×2.
That left wing, Tyler, has been his sweet spot early on, both his tray balls from there.
Inside the cylinder, needs to get a shot up, rejected. Incredible ups from Sam Martin. Pick the pocket going the other way. It seems like we've just been doing sprints up the floor back and forth, and that'll take us to our first timeout here in Rock Hill. Back and forth we go. A fun one between the Bears and the Trojans. 6-4 LR in front. You're listening to the SAC Basketball Tournament on Flow Sports.
Sure, we've been around a while, 171 years to be exact. We know the power of a liberal arts-based Christian education and the tremendous potential of what can be found on this campus, within this community. We are adventurers, dreamers, believers, passionate and compassionate, curious and clever, driven by a common purpose towards a common goal.
I found my passion.
I found purpose.
We are Carson-Newman.
What will you find?
Back here from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, a couple trays for Tay Smith. A 34% shooter from beyond the arc was able to find a couple, but it's been the pickpockets, the steals, and the turnovers forced by Anderson that have kept the Trojans in this low scoring through our first 4.5 of play. It's the Bears in front by 2, Andrew.
Yeah, turnovers have led to Lenore Ryan baskets. Both of Smith's threes that you mentioned about have been after Anderson turnovers. Anderson's only 2 turnovers at the first break.
LR led by first-year head coach Brent Owen out of Eastern New Mexico State University, where he had a pretty successful season last year, brought a few players over from New Mexico to Hickory, North Carolina. An air ball rolls out of bounds and going the other way. Possession for the Bears.
Shots are difficult right now for AU. Tried to run a set out of the timeout, got repass along the baseline, tried to back down his defender, but no openings right now for a Trojans offense that has just 2 field goals and 3 turnovers.
Both teams being fed by just 2 players until Conrad Luczynski cuts his way inside and lays it off glass for 2. Prior to that, it was Smith who had all 6 for the Bears and Webb who had all 4 for the Trojans. Webb now off floor for Anderson, looking for a different source of point scoring. Reeves fires a triple, bottoms it home.
A lot of different players, Tyler, can shoot the basketball for this Anderson squad. They make the 5th most threes per game, even though it's just the 7th best percentage in the league. A lot of different guys.
Triple for Tay. Couldn't quite triple it up. Instead, offensive rebound, second chance opportunity. Fight for the basketball, and the Trojans, an excellent effort to come away with it. Reeves, pass in the backcourt. Doesn't really matter what happens from there. Backcourt violation causes another turnover.
Yeah, those are that's an unforced error there by Reeves. Just mishandles the basketball, and it leads to a turnover. Those are just little plays that go a long way in a game like this. Just miscommunication there with Wright on the pass attempt out near midcourt.
LR will get an opportunity to set up the offense, and a foul as Kayla Maccabee was booked on a hooking call as Dozier tried to cut inside. Maccabee, the freshman from St. John's, Florida, gets booked. It's the first personal and team for the Trojans. Resetting, Dozier fires a 3. He got it, tried to draw the foul, couldn't quite get there, but it bottoms home anyway. 3 points for the Bears. Dozier's first points of the game for LR. Webb cuts inside. Repass thinks better of it. Reeves will dish it back out to the freshman Maccabee. Nice spin move and cuts it in. Second chance opportunity to repass, couldn't quite get there. Anderson has had good looks, just can't quite get the friendly rolls. Nearly tipped into his own basket by Dallas Jones, and he'll land out of bounds. Off of a Bear, and it's Trojan ball.
Well, there's so many dynamic playmakers on this Lenore Ryan team. See Wells, a difficult shot in the lane here. He's missed both of his shots inside the arc so far. And this is a Lenore Ryan team that shoots a high percentage, 15th best in the country at 50% on average per game. And that's shooting a lot of shots inside the arc. But so far, strangely enough, they've connected on 3 triples of their 4 field goals. So you have to credit Anderson defensively right now for playing good interior defense and forcing Lenore Ryan to shoot 3s because they only make 6 per game, 12th most in the SAC this year.
It's been working for the Bears so far from beyond the arc. Anderson looking for an answer. A loose ball and out of bounds. It just bolted down the tunnel off the body of Malachi Reeves. Somebody's going to have to walk a half mile into that tunnel to retrieve the basketball. Still not out with it. This is incredible. How deep is that tunnel, Andrew?
You don't know what funky bounces it can take back there.
You know what it reminds me of? The pit at New Mexico where you
Yes.
see the guys rolling it up the ramp, trying to get it all the way to the top. We'll try to uncover.
Very challenging.
I've heard. I want to try. As a pass back out, Hodnett will look for a triple. It hits off the side of the entire backboard. Heads up play by Dozier to spike it off the leg of Austin Webb and keep the possession with the Bears. We'll try to uncover the mystery as we're here of what's beyond that tunnel.
We have to work our way down there at halftime of this game.
I don't know if we'll ever come back. Another triple tried from Dozier. This time it's true. 4 triples on the day for an LR team that's known for more second chance opportunities and getting in the paint. Anderson, Maccabee's 3, rims out, unlucky bounces on the other end for the Trojans in gold. Dozier is the point man, back to Hodnett. Looked for another 3 ball. They're feeling themselves, and it's a team-wide heat check before a tie-up will give the ball back to the Trojans.
It's an important balance that Brent Owen will now have to deal with, and it makes certain his players understand, because you don't want them to fall in love with the 3 because they are so good inside the arc. They have the 7'2" center, Conrad Luczynski. They've got a lot of options to get inside. So as this first half progresses, it'll be interesting to see how many 3-point shots this team takes throughout this game and how Anderson continues to defend them.
Brent Owen will go to the bench to get some fresh legs out there. Anderson looking to take advantage. Right, a shifty move from the free throw line. Can't get it to fall. Anderson now 2.5 minutes without a made bucket. The tall Luczynski, he's really tough to guard just because of his pure height advantage. Back out Dozier, another 3 ball. Heat check will fail. Second chance opportunity. The pass to Luczynski intercepted. Pass back, deep NBA range triple. Sam Perez knocks it down. The junior from Apex, a 39% shooter from beyond the arc, and he shows he can hit it from distance.
He's one of 7 guys, Tyler, that have made 20 or more threes for Jimmy Williams' team. They have a lot of weapons. You got to close out every time.
Well, it's 2 touchdowns to a touchdown and a field goal. 14-10, the 2 seed Bears lead Anderson, as that'll take us to another timeout. We got a fun one brewing here in Rock Hill. Don't go anywhere. It's the SAC Men's Basketball Tournament on Flow Sports.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Sure, we've been around a while, 171 years to be exact. We know the power of a liberal arts-based Christian education and the tremendous potential of what can be found on this campus, within this community. We are adventurers, dreamers, believers, passionate and compassionate, curious and clever, driven by a common purpose towards a common goal.
I found my passion.
I found purpose.
We are Carson-Newman.
What will you find?
Back on Flow College and the SAC Men's Basketball Tournament, the 7th-seeded Trojans of Anderson, South Carolina, trail by 4 to the 2nd-seeded Bears of Lenoir-Rhyne University out of Hickory. Both teams shooting just in the ballpark of around 35%. The difference has been the 3-point shooting for Lenoir-Rhyne. Hans Lewis June back to the tall Luczynski, who essentially takes a free throw and fronts it. Dallas Jones, the sophomore out of Gainesville, Florida, will be the one to work the ball around. 3 ball can't find its way in. Tough matchup for both teams. I'm sure both the Trojans and the Bears found themselves thinking, couldn't we have anybody else as their opponent when they saw the bracket come out for this one, Andrew?
Certainly, but you can't hide from anybody in the South Atlantic Conference tournament. You've got 8 teams in the field, and they're all 8 here for a reason because they're talented. We saw with the 8 seed, Kendall Taylor and Wingate. They're here for a reason because of what he has done this year. No different for these 2 squads.
Another 3 taken, Hans Lewis June. The 3-point shooting for LR has gone cold. Started off hot, got heat checked, and now Sam Perez starting to heat up himself. Perez averaging 8 points per game. He's got his first 3 of this contest. Lechinsky back out Hodnett. And Andrew mentioned it in the last possession, that 3-point shooting has gone cold for the Bears.
Yep, and they're starting to settle with it offensively.
For the lead, got it. Another from Sam Perez. Back-to-back 3s for number 12 in gold and black. Time out Brent Owen as Anderson has reclaimed the lead. How about 2 back-to-back triples from Sam Perez on the biggest stage in the conference?
Absolutely. Look at the Anderson offense. It's hard to see the whole floor on that replay, but Perez is playing the 5 for this team. He's only 6'8", but when your 5-man in your offense is shooting 3s at this high of a level, that creates challenges for Conrad Luchitsky and his 7'2" frame to guard the perimeter. Same with Sam Martin, 11 in white for Lenore Ryan. He's 6'9", but that's challenging to have to guard all 5 of Anderson's players on the perimeter. And it's showing right now that Perez and his ability to shoot from long distance is becoming a challenge for Lenore Ryan defensively because all 3 of his 3s have come with the 7-footer Luchitsky on the floor.
Perez, 33 of his 77 shots or makes on the year have been from 3-point land. Sam Perez certainly a threat from beyond the arc and a reason that the Trojans have the lead coming out of the timeout.
You ready for this, Tyler? First 2 meetings in the regular season, Perez was 0 for 7 against the Bears. This is why you play the game right here.
How about that? That's why you don't just say on paper, you know, LMU's #1 in the conference, let's hand them the trophy. Oddly enough, they did, but that was for the regular season championship between games. Back out to Julian Dozier. Dozier, one of the smaller figures on the court at 5'10", but yet he controls that Bears offense. Anderson still controlling the lead. It is a 2-point advantage. A.J. Wright cuts in like butter, passes it back out to Middleton.
Look at all the spacing. So much spacing. Everybody's around the perimeter.
Trying to play the zone, and instead Sam Perez comes back in. He's already matched his average scoring in about 10 minutes of game action.
He is proving right now to be a matchup nightmare and another Bears turnover.
Picked pocket, pass over, chance on the fast break, and it's Lewis June who will try to punch the ball out of the hands of a Trojan, but instead directly hits the wrist. And Hans Lewis June, the senior from Lake Worth, Florida, and the FAMU transfer, will get booked on the foul, his first. And it brings up Cole Middleton, probably the worst guy to send to the line if you're LR. Middleton leads the team 78% from the free throw line this year. And, well, the jinx continues is all I can say. Apologies to Cole Middleton.
This has been an impressive stretch from the Trojans, taking advantage of Lenore Ryan's turnovers. Bears have committed 8 turnovers. They only average 12 per game. We've still got pretty much a half of another half of this first half to play as Middleton makes the second one. And although the Anderson's not totally scoring every time off the turnovers, they're starting to add up. When Anderson does score in the half court, they're also taking advantage of the turnovers, and that's why you get a 12-0 run.
Yeah, Anderson, 12 unanswered. LR, 4 minutes without a bucket. Julian Dozier says not anymore. Puts up the 3-point field goal, and we're back to a 2-point game. Dozier's got 9. This Anderson offense, Andrew, so methodical in the way they work. And a pass back out. Hot hand Perez decides to feed it off. Asking for the ball, double teamed, second chance opportunity, and the tall Luczynski. It's hard to get a rebound past LR's 44.
Good overall defensive sequence by Anderson. Forced the one-on-one shot, and I think LR will live with repass taking turnarounds over the 7'2" Luczynski.
Back Dozier. He's got 9. Instead, he'll lose the basketball, and it goes out on Austin Webb, the leading scorer for Anderson. And that'll take us to another timeout. Just under 8 to go. The Trojans are feeling themselves, led by Sam Perez. We'll be back after a few short messages here at the SAC Men's Basketball Tournament on Flow College.
On campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference Tournament. 2 hot hands. Julian Dozier, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. Sam Perez, a perfect 3 for 3. He's got 11 for the Trojans. It's Dozier and Perez, 2 players who we knew about were going to be role players in this game. Maybe not quite the leading scorers halfway through our first half, Andrew.
Yeah, their sharpshooting has been really important for both sides. Perez 4 of 5. He's made all 3 of his threes for 11. You mentioned Dozier. He's hit 3 triples as well. And they both have good averages this season. Dozier in double figures, Perez just shy of it. But when they score, that's a bonus. So now it's time for some of these stars and the key guys like Tay Smith, Zaire Wells for Lenore Ryan to step up and score the basketball. Middleton and Webb for Anderson.
Just 2 to shoot. Gets the shot off. Second try, Luczynski couldn't quite tap it in. Anderson, an opportunity to extend the narrow 2-point advantage. Back out, wasn't expecting the pass, was repass. And a loose ball for a second. LR playing shorthanded, top of the key triple. And it bottoms for Zaire Wells.
We saw this in our first quarterfinal, Tyler. Both LMU and Wingate came out and shot really well from the field and from beyond the arc. Then it kind of cooled off, and they did a lot of their damage inside the arc. Very similar start to this quarterfinal as well. We've already got 10 combined threes.
Still 7 to go here in the first half. Cole Middleton, a very good fight to the basket to lay it in and reclaim the first half lead for the Trojans.
He quietly can be a really important player for Anderson throughout this game. Only had 11 points in the first meeting back in January. Second meeting, he was held to 11 as well.
We'll see how many he can collect in round 3 between the Trojans and Bears. Lewis June cuts in. Had a nice finger roll, just couldn't quite put enough power on it. Other way, the Trojans, we've mentioned how lethal they are in the passing department. One of the best teams in the nation in assists per game as a team. The LR coaching staff trying to get through it. A foul on the way up. It looks like this is against the center, Luczynski, and it is. It's his first LR booked on the 4th team foul of this first half. Very different than our first game, Andrew, between LMU and Wingate. Not too many foul calls through the first 14 or so minutes of our second quarterfinal.
Yeah, that's not a great foul from Conrad Luczynski. Had good defensive position on Middleton, who comes up short on the free throw. You've got the size advantage as well. Just throw those hands straight up into the air and force Middleton to shoot over those outstretched arms of Luczynski. But that time, he brought those arms down to the big fella and got charged for the foul.
LR is currently being outshot by Anderson, but 2 more 3-point attempts have kept the Bears in this one. Middleton goes 0 of 2 from the line. He's now 1 of 4 from the stripe. A triple from Smith can't find its way in. Second chance opportunity on a solid offensive rebound by Serda. Back up off glass and gets a solid roll to Zaire Wells. The Bear hailing from Queens, New York, has his first couple. Anderson looking for passing, taking advantage of the zone. Middleton fired a triple and couldn't find it. LR has the lead and the ball with speed. Luczynski fights into the paint, hits side backboard. Rolling the other way, Lewis June, solid save to keep it in. A lot of contact at half court.
Yeah, letting them play a little bit. There's some physicality down low. That easily probably could have been called a foul. They're going to let him play through some contact. There again, nice take.
Lewis June off glass. And there's a timeout called by Jimmy Williams and the 7th-seeded Anderson Trojans. We'll keep it here alongside Andrew. I want to talk about Anderson's physicality. It seems like they're getting in low, but LR is able to more or less out-muscle them and get to the basket. Is still able to make it in without having to rely on foul calls.
Absolutely, and I think Anderson, to this point, has done a fine job matching somewhat the physicality, because we talked about LR's three-point shooting, only 6 per game. They're already at 6, and they've shot it well, so they're not just shooting only threes in this first half. You got to give credit to Anderson. They've done a decent job so far with their interior defense. Only 3 baskets inside the arc for Lenore Ryan. At this point, I think Jimmy Williams has to be proud of what his defense has been able to do, because at some point you either adjust to Lenore Ryan's sharp shooting from distance, you either continue to live with that and then hope that they start to pop out and they don't go in as often. But I think right now he's got to be proud and pleased with what his team's doing. If he can limit the turnovers, both these teams limit the turnovers, both these coaches probably at halftime will be much happier, and obviously one would be happier than the other.
Anderson looking for its first tournament victory in 11 years when they were a 3 seed in 2014, beating Queens, who has since made the jump to Division I. Anderson looking to dispel a spell that has haunted them for the past decade in a solid defensive stand by Lenore Ryan. LR fighting for the ball. Instead, A.J. Wright with the takeaway. Up floor, dishes it off to the freshman. Comes up empty on the possession. LR leading by a possession. It's a 3-point lead for the Bears. Solid opportunity for Tay Smith, who's already buried a couple of shots. He takes a mid-range J and gets nothing but nylon. He's up to 8.
Tay Smith, really good player. Again, we talk about Zaire Wells at the beginning, but so many different weapons. Same with the Trojans. 4 different players, or rather 5 different players for Lenore Ryan, average double digits. Smith being one of those, and he's showing why early on in this one.
Handoff, lost ball. Teammate was there. Dallas Jones gets the pickup. Jones cuts inside with 2 on the shot clock, down to 1. And it's out of bounds. Did the buzzer go off before the whistle was called? The officials currently saying shot clock violation.
I thought this ball hit the rim barely. Let's get a look. No, it doesn't hit the rim, so.
Looks like we may have to look at this one, but we'll take a timeout regardless. It's the Bears by 5, cutting into that deficit and taking the lead on a 12-2 run over the Trojans. We'll be back at the SAC Men's Basketball Tournament on Flow College.
Mars Hill University, helping you move your mountain.
Mars Hill University gives me plenty of degrees to choose from.
At MHU, I get the attention I deserve.
MHU keeps me close to home, and there's tons to do in the mountains.
Over 60 courses of study, small class settings, a breathtaking campus. These are just a few examples of how MHU can help you start moving your mountain. Visit us today at mhu.edu. Mars Hill University, education that moves mountains.
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference men's basketball tournament. It's Lenoir-Rhyne leading by 5 down the stretch. Andrew, what have you liked?
Yeah, there's been some really good basketball. Good stretch here from Lenoir-Rhyne. They've done a decent job limiting some turnovers, but defensively it's been much better. The Trojans got a little bit of a groove, gotten in a good groove offensively because of what Perez was able to do from long distance, but it's a 12-2 extended run for the Bears in 5 minutes because of their defense. I mean, 2 points from Anderson in 5 minutes. You'll take that any day of the week. They haven't scored in 3.5 minutes, and that's why it is still a 5-point game, but Anderson at one point, Tyler, felt like they had some control. They had a 5-point lead, so it's been a 10-point swing because of this, obviously, 12-2 run.
Inside of that 12-2 run, the last 6 points have belonged to LR, taking a 21-20 Anderson lead and giving it right back to the Bears. Dozier, the handoff to Wells. The Bears have been methodical on their end of the court, have limited turnovers. Tay Smith looking for another 3-ball front iron and a really good rebound from A.J. Wright. Sophomore guard from Tampa takes it away. He's trying to go coast to coast, instead hands it off. Back out right for a corner 3. It's front ironed and slapped into the hands of Hodnett.
Well, these final few minutes are going to be critical. They were critical in our first quarterfinal game. Wingate was down 4 points, and Lincoln Memorial scored the final 6, led by 10 at the break. Important 2.5 minutes here.
Kick ball will roll out of bounds. And Hans Lewis June checking back in for Lenoir-Rhyne. He has been a crucial role player for the Bears when he's on the floor.
Yep, 14 points per game. Another really efficient player offensively, 51%. And as we've talked about, so many different Bears are a threat. Had a career-high 33 earlier this season in the second game of the year. So there's a lot of different weapons, and certainly he'll be a critical one as more with the rejection out of bounds.
How about this, Andrew? Zaire Wells and Tay Smith, when they're on the floor, LR's been outscoring Anderson by 14 points.
Shocker. They're good players for a reason. They may not always show up statistically. Wells and Luis June, as Hodnett buries a 3. They may not stand out with their scoring all the time, but they do so many different things to help with this team defense in the half court.
You saw just flashing up on your screen, 10 steals for the Trojans, none for the Bears. Haven't been able to cash in on those points off turnovers as well as I think they would have liked as Sentinel Moore, the freshman from Oklahoma City, is able to lay it in. Back to a 6-point deficit are the Trojans with just about 2 to play. Luczynski, double teamed, having to fight through a lot of arm traffic.
It's really good defense. They didn't double, they just showed a double and then went back to defending man-to-man.
Back to Luczynski, who couldn't quite handle the pass, and it's going the other way. You talk about this Lenoir-Rhyne team having a few transfers from Eastern New Mexico State that have made the move over with Brent Owen. Certainly a transplant into Hickory that has worked out for the Bears. 3-ball from A.J. Wright out of bounds. It's back the way of LR. About 92 seconds to go. Andrew, I'll offer you this question. If you're Jimmy Williams and the Anderson Trojans, what is the message down the stretch before you head into the locker room to mitigate this deficit?
Well, it's got to be to continue to play good defense, but rebound the ball defensively. They forced LR to shoot a low percentage. There's a one-and-done opportunity, but the Bears are plus 11 on the glass right now and have 7 offensive rebounds. A team can shoot below 40%, Tyler, but if they're getting extra opportunities, that's not good for the other side. But that is.
Very good from Caleb Maccabee as a star for Providence High School and is working his way up the ranks of Jimmy Williams' ladder with Anderson. And quietly, I might add, we're back to a one-possession game.
And again, these final few minutes, critical. If it goes one way and teeters to LR's favor, it could have been a double-digit game, but Anderson's showed some fight, and they found some life offensively.
Seeing decimal points on the scoreboard, no shot on a foul on the floor. And it will go against A.J. Wright. Only the second foul for Anderson. They've played a clean game.
Totally opposite of what we saw earlier, and we hinted at that earlier in this half, but Wright trying to swipe it away from Wells. Wright's one of the best on-ball defenders in this conference. Already has 5 steals in 16 minutes of this game.
Contested shot, no good, and it's difficult to get a rebound when you're trying to focus on Luczynski. Someone else gets it instead. The 11th steal for Anderson goes the other way. Foul on the floor, and it's going the way of the Bears. Weird sequence there.
Well, a lot there. You saw another offensive rebound, another A.J. Wright steal as well, but good interior defending there by Hans. Luis June to wall off and not foul A.J. Wright on that drive to the basket. No really 2-for-1 opportunity here, so the Bears will just try to get a good shot here and see if they can score before the break.
Dozier falls 0, fouled by 0, and A.J. Wright will pick up his second foul in a pretty quick succession.
His second 14th foul.
That's important. I mean, he has not scored in this game, but we highlighted him in the open. A really good passer, great defender, 3 assists, 6 steals in this game. He'll have to be smart down the stretch, not commit a third.
Great passing from the Bears over to Luczynski. Lays it in easily, nearly able to dunk it in just standing up as Luczynski. It extends the lead up to 5. Likely final possession here with the shot clock turned off.
Let's see where they go here. Perez is the hot hand of the guys on the floor. He's got 11. He's got Zaire Wells on him, though, so that's not a good matchup, I don't think, for Anderson.
5-point lead for the Bears. 5 to go. Wright, bounce pass through traffic, foul called on Luczynski. Second time in the paint that Luczynski's been called on a foul, Andrew.
Yeah, this is really good action right here by Anderson on this set. You've got Perez on the perimeter, and that's why Reeves cuts. He's disappearing. You don't see him in your screen there. He's off to the right in the corner. That's why Dozier stays back, because they don't want Perez to get a good look. Reeves, smart, he cuts right to the middle of the paint, and that's why he gets 2 free throws.
Reeves, the Lexington, South Carolina native, will sink the first and try to make this a 1-possession game with another free throw before heading to the locker room. A few changes before the half to try to get some full-court defense, I guess, if an inbound comes in with a 3-quarter to half-court heave from LR expected on the other end if this is a made free throw. Reeves goes up, and it's a 1-possession game. Lewis June into Wells, 3-quarter shot. Hits off glass, but was nowhere near the net. It's a 1-possession game. Andrew, what have you liked in the first half from the LR Bears?
Well, the Bears, Tyler, have been terrific on the glass, plus 13. I think Brent Owen will be pleased with that. The turnovers, though, 11 turnovers. So good rebounding. Not so good with the turnovers, so that'll be something certainly that Brent Owen will want to see improved in the second half.
You mentioned Brent Owen, the Coach of the Year, the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. Adam Cavalier is standing by with Coach Owens.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler Katz, Adam Cavalier, alongside Brent Owen. Brent, a first half marked by a 15-2 run for your club. You held Anderson without a point for 6 minutes. What keyed that burst that has you in the lead headed into the locker room?
I think we tried a little bit harder. I thought we came out a little bit flat, and I thought our intensity level picked up during that stretch. I need to go ask my coaches who was in during that stretch. They need to play a lot more in the second half.
Keys to a quality second half.
We've got to rebound. We've got to get the ball inside. We're taking too many long shots. We've been pounding the ball inside all year. I think it's open in there. We got to be stronger around the rim. We're not finishing very well. And then we've got to go find some offensive rebounds. If we're going to take long shots, we better be coming up with the long rebounds to come out of that.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck second half.
Thank you.
All right, Tyler Katz, back up to you.
Appreciate it, Adam. A 3-point lead for the 2-seed Lenoir-Rhyne Bears. 3-point field goals have been the name of the game for the Bears. We'll speak more on that on the other side of our halftime report. An interview with SAC Commissioner Patrick Britz coming up on this SAC tournament coverage on Flow College.
The NCAA sponsors 90 national championships each year, none of which could happen without officials. There's an urgent need for sports officials across the country, as they are retiring 4 times faster than they are coming in, leaving shortages at all levels of sport. The NCAA recognizes the importance of officiating on the student-athlete experience and is dedicated to the recruitment and retention of new officials for all sports. There are many great reasons to become an official. Stay in shape and get paid to do so. Meet new people and build relationships within a tight-knit community. Give back to the sport you love by creating a fair atmosphere and upholding the integrity of the game. Say yes to officiating. Visit ncaa.org/say yes to officiating for more information on how to get started.
At Anderson University, we are on a journey, one that seeks to find the purpose for which God created each and every one of us. So we search, we grow, we dive in, and with a close-knit community, small class sizes, accomplished and supportive faculty, and a spirit that believes that together we can accomplish big things. The person we are striving to become doesn't feel so far away. So we push, we dream, we dig deeper, until our journey finds us as teachers, artists, writers, athletes, engineers, nurses, and friends. And while we're at it, we just might change the world. Anderson University, knowledge for your journey.
Learning of facts. It is a fun pursuit of wisdom. A wisdom to find joy together.
Tyler Katz here on Flow Sports with SAC Commissioner Patrick Britt. Patrick, the women's tournament coming up. A lot of surprises this regular season. Coker storming up to take the top slot. What has impressed you this regular season leading into this SAC tournament from the women's side?
Well, as you said, Coker winning their first regular season title with the league. That was a surprise, I think, to everybody, but probably them. I think they believed in themselves. And then we had such a tight mix in between there, too. You know, the fight for 2, 3, 4 seed was really close toward the end. And then, you know, I think there's a lot more parity than we've had in the women's side for a while. I think there's clearly, you know, at least 6 teams that feel like they could win it. I think there's 2 that feel like, you know, if we got lucky, we might be able to win it. But I think it's going to be an exciting 3 days of women's basketball.
Now in Rock Hill, it's a newer development to have the quarterfinals all the way through the championship here. What has that been like from the league side, setting up an extra 2 days of 4 games of basketball? Well,
It's definitely a new format for this. Well, this is the second year that we've had this format, but you know, no tournament format is 100% perfect, and so it has its pros and its cons. But it's definitely, to me at least, it feels more like a tournament. You know, we've got teams that aren't even playing until tomorrow that are here watching games right now. From our perspective, it's not that hard. Our office is literally 5 minutes from here, so it's pretty easy to manage. The facility here is fantastic. I think it's the perfect size for us from a fan's perspective. It's fairly centrally located within the league. So from that standpoint, I think it's great. The one thing that I'm really going to try to work with the city on in the future is if we can get the finals on Saturday instead of Friday, so we could start on Wednesday and end Saturday. If we can pull that off, I don't see any reason we wouldn't stay here for a while.
Now I want to hop back on over to talking about the women's tournament this year. The SAC well represented so far in the regional rankings this year. What does that mean from the league office's standpoint, and then just from an overall outlook that the conference on the women's basketball side is this strong?
I think it just shows that we are definitely one of the stronger Division II leagues in the country. Certainly within the region, I think it would be hard to argue that we aren't at least the top 2, maybe the top Division II women's basketball league in the region. I mean, from our perspective, you know, the fact that we've got 5 teams ranked right now, and we've pretty much had 5 or 6 in and out the whole time, I think goes to what I said earlier as far as the parity and the quality of the basketball within our league. And, you know, it just helps us promote the league more and get more marketing and branding. And Flow Sports has picked up on a lot of that and been able to push some stuff out and promote it as well.
All right, well, appreciate your time as always.
My pleasure.
With the SAC Commissioner Patrick Britz, I'm Tyler Katz on Flow Sports. The women's basketball quarterfinals begins next on Flow Sports.
Our roots run deep here at Catawba College. So do our ambitions. We're pushing forward into life-saving, cutting-edge genomics research, powering up with geothermal heat and solar energy, going after national championships, and saying yes to the impossible, and then delivering on it. We don't just talk about saving the planet, revolutionizing education for the next generation, innovating business, unleashing creativity, or pioneering better, kinder, smarter healthcare. We do it. Good change starts here, with us. And it goes far. Just you watch. Catawba College. Good goes far.
We've been around a while, 171 years to be exact. We know the power of a liberal arts-based Christian education and the tremendous potential of what can be found on this campus, within this community. We are adventurers, dreamers, believers, passionate and compassionate, curious and clever, driven by a common purpose towards a common goal.
I found my passion.
I found purpose.
We are Carson-Newman.
What will you find?
What is a lab of difference making? It's a place. A safe place. A safe place to explore and experiment. It's a place to focus and question your perceived notions. To step out of your comfort zone and be bold, brave, and different. Or to shake things up and try something new. It's Wingate.
Back here from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. It's a 3-point lead for Lenore Ryan. 3-point shooting, turnovers, steals. This game has had a little bit of everything. We welcome you back here to Rock Hill. Tyler Katz joined alongside my color analyst, Andrew Rogers, to be joined later in this halftime report by the third member of our crew, Adam Cavalier. It's been 3-point shooting all around. The 3-point ball has been a hot topic of conversation on both benches today. But the one stat I want to bring your attention to, Andrew, second chance points, Lenore Ryan dominating the category.
Yeah, the Bears have really done an excellent job, and you heard Brent Owen talk about it. If we're going to shoot these long-range shots, go after them. Go get those long misses, because when you miss three-pointers, most of the time they're going to be long misses. And so they did a good job of that. 8 second chance points, and they collected 8 offensive rebounds to get those second chance points. So that'll be an important statistic that Jimmy Williams and the Anderson Trojans will need to correct in the second half.
Well, you mentioned Coach Williams with some work to do. Standing by with head coach Jimmy Williams as the third member of our crew, Adam Cavalier. Adam, will send it down to you with head coach Jimmy Williams.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler Katz. Jimmy, a first half, some really high-level moments, also a 6-minute scoring drought.
Really?
How do you balance?
I did not know that. I was so locked in one possession at a time. There was a 6-minute drought. Well, that's bad coaching.
How do you balance that out with the 12-0 run that you went on?
I think it's important to stay where your feet are in a game like this. You know, season's on the line. I'm proud of our fight that half. Wish we could have had a couple of those possessions back, and that 6-minute drought is not something that I'm going to overreact to, but really proud of our defensive effort that half. They got us on the glass, but last time we played, 50 paint points. They that half progress, and that's a credit to our guys' fight.
You forced 11 turnovers in the first half. You converted half of those into points. What's the key to continue causing that chaos?
A.J. Wright. I mean, sometimes coaches overcomplicate things. He's got 6 steals in 20 minutes of basketball. Kids everywhere. Kid's got the heart of a lion. And our gap support, like we've been working on making sure we create turnovers from our positioning, and there were some other turnovers that our positioning is what made the turnovers happen. So we're going to continue to do that.
Biggest emphasis point for you for a quality second half and a comeback victory.
Yeah, we got to answer the bell on the glass, and it's our guards. Their guards really crash, and they're long and athletic. June and Wells. Wells has, I think, 8 rebounds in the first half. Like, we got to be better at rebounding from the guard position. We'll do that.
Jimmy, thanks for the time. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
All right, Tyler, back upstairs to you.
Thank you, Adam. Andrew, you can see why players love to play for Jimmy Williams. Great stuff down there with Adam.
Yeah, of course, very passionate and didn't realize the 6-minute scoring drought, but also that's a good thing because they're only down 3 and they had that drought. But you heard it from him, A.J. Wright, the head of the snake for this defense. The heart of a lion was the phrase that he used in that first half. And he also said, listen, all those paint points they gave up in the most recent meeting with the Bears, they've taken that away, and they forced LR to shoot threes, and the Bears have answered that bell with those 3-pointers. So it'll be interesting to see if LR tries to attack the paint like Brent Owen said he wants them to do, and how Anderson defends inside the arc. Can they maintain what they've been able to do defensively?
You mentioned LR is answering the call from the 3-point shooting that Anderson is forcing them to make. You can see on your screen there 7 3-pointers made by Lenore Ryan. Average 6 per game, as we've mentioned earlier, so this is really uncharacteristic. But LR, seeing Anderson's strategy, able to rally around that, take some 3-point opportunities. And when we were heading into the locker rooms at halftime, when Adam Cavalier caught up with Brent Owen, he was talking about how he wasn't a fan of how many 3-point shots that LR was taking. So it's interesting to hear both coaches mention that 3-point shooting, Andrew, in 2 different aspects.
Well, remember, Lenore Ryan shot it so well at the start of that game, and my question was, how often are they going to shoot these threes because they're going down? But if you fall in love with it, that can be a bad thing. And I think LR, to a degree, fell in love with it because they take half their shots from beyond the arc, and that's something this group is not accustomed to doing throughout the regular season.
We're underway in the second half, and quickly working, swirled around and in for Zaire Wells. Back to a 5-point advantage for the Bears as we're again underway in our 4th half of basketball today at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. A reminder, coming up on Flow College, the women's basketball tournament quarterfinals begin. The 1-8 matchup will kick things off between Coker and Limestone. The 2-7 matchup between Lincoln Memorial and Carson-Newman for the women will be the nightcap of today's coverage. Well, foul is called quickly here for Sam Martin of Lenore Rhine. And Riley McGilligan, the assistant coach for Lenore Rhine, is the one barking out orders. And off ball, a turnover will cause a 5-second violation.
It's another unforced error. It is forced, but Anderson didn't even try to inbound the basketball. Those are little things. Again, we saw a couple of those minor mistakes that were turnovers in the first half hurt Anderson. That one, not a good start here.
Well, we mentioned Anderson. They had the shot clock run down on them quite a bit in that first half, including, I believe, 2 shot clock violations and 1 where they barely missed out on the horn. So this is a LR team that just has smothering defense on both inbounds and just traditional defense as Lewis June fires a triple. Unfavorable rim, but it goes out of bounds on a Trojan and stays with the Bears.
You mentioned the rebounding battle and how that was And how that fared in the opening half with LR out rebounding Anderson by 13. Both teams want to do a better job on the glass, and already a couple extra chances here on this trip down for LR. They'll have 9 offensive rebounds to Anderson's none. That is critical, and that's something late in this game as we get deeper and deeper that extend possessions and our backbreakers. There's another steal.
The steals category has heavily favored Anderson. Can they convert? Yes, Dallas Jones hits another 3-ball, buries it to bring it back to within a 2-point game. Only 1 basket per side. Hans Lewis June trying to change that. Inside the paint jumper is no good. It's a race for the basketball. Fast break for A.J. Wright. He'll let the rest of the offense catch up. Wright still looking to get on the score sheet, number 0 in the gold and black. A look around for Cole Middleton. Tipped pass out of bounds. It stays Anderson ball, but take a look at the shot clock, down to 3.
Another time where Lenore Ryan's defense has forced you to work it around the perimeter. Now 2 of the officials and a third comes to join in are going to chat about the shot clock, potentially.
We'll see if they go to the monitor or if we'll get it reset. Something was just said, and now Brent Owen is confused on the LR bench.
I think it was set to 20 instead of 30 on the tap out into the front court.
Because now there's an additional 10 seconds put on. I was going to say that possession seemed a lot faster. I think this is the right call, but there is a reason for Brent Owen to be upset. I completely understand both sides.
Good catch by the officials as well.
So more time to roll the offense out. Anderson again taking their time. Shot clock will reach 3 for the second time. Firing a triple is Webb. Hits off. Defensive rebound. Almost said offensive. Cole Middleton was right there and just couldn't quite beat out Sam Martin. Dozier so shifty through the defense. 4 different Trojans were there, and finally Middleton takes it down for the board. Handoff to A.J. Wright. He's been kept scoreless. Wide open look for Dallas Jones. Bang! Hits the 3. Anderson back in front.
Some good offense, and it was, again, all set up by A.J. Wright. His vision in the half court right there got Dallas Jones a good look, and Jones did his part to knock down the triple. Good start to the second half for Anderson.
Anderson looking for the first upset of the tournament as the 7 seed on the men's side. Lenore Ryan, the first time being a top 2 seed in 16 years, trying to defend that honor. Fouled on the way up was Julian Dozier, and the junior from Detroit, Michigan will head to the line after being fouled by Dallas Jones.
Good work by Dozier there to navigate the ball screen. See here again, good screen from Sam Martin, and Dozier wise to notice that Jones was behind him and did a good job to force the contact, draw it, and get to the free throw line.
He'll make the first. Well, how about this, Andrew? A.J. Wright has 7 steals today. You go back in SAC tournament history, the all-time record is 8 in a game. So a chance to rewrite the history books for A.J. Wright.
Man, what's so neat about that is 13 in 3 games is the record for steals in a tournament. So if Anderson can keep playing as Wright with his first basket, and this guy is going to be a critical part of their success. That's why we highlighted him in the open.
Still 16 minutes to go in our game, Andrew. A.J. Wright, a new career high in steals. Fighting through traffic and able to lay it in. Solid possession from Zaire Wells. Oh boy, you couldn't ask for a closer game. Tied with about 16 minutes to go. Anderson, nice behind the back pass. What a shifty move. And Rapace is able to find the basket. The junior out of Jacksonville Beach able to lay it in. Anderson back in front by 2. LR looking for an answer. Tay Smith made a couple of baskets at the beginning of this game. He's been quiet since then, and it's Hans Lewis June asserting his presence and reties our game.
Well, you're seeing what Brent Owen preached to his team at halftime. Drive that basketball. And LR has done an excellent job as we've got a foul. They've done an excellent job driving the ball on Anderson's defense, and they've converted field goals as Hans Luis June just did on the previous possession.
We're tied with 15:45 to go. You couldn't ask for a tighter contest in the SAC quarterfinals. We'll step aside and let the teams talk it over. Tied at 38 as we head to break on Flow College.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
This place has a heartbeat of its own.
The vibe that you get when you walk into the student center, you just get a vibe that you're here at home.
It's given me opportunities that I never thought I'd have. Everyone here knows everyone. That atmosphere is infectious.
The relationships that I've built here have been phenomenal, and I know that they'll last beyond here at Wise.
It's a magic little place in the mountains.
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference Men's Basketball Tournament, Tyler Katz joined alongside Andrew Rogers. Andrew, you couldn't ask for a better score at this point in the game. Tied the 2 versus the 7. The drama all leading up to the end, and it's 15 minutes and 45 seconds to decide who gets the right to play in 2 days' time.
Yeah, and let's not act like we're surprised by a close game. These were two teams that played single-digit games in the regular season. So LR, the 2 seed, they won both games. No surprise to see how close the game this was, because in the first two meetings, there was more than 10 ties and there was 20-plus lead changes between the 2 games. So you've got 2 teams that are really good quality squads that have talent up and down the roster. No surprise to see what Anderson's been able to do, and LR has handled it well by keeping right there with Anderson throughout this game.
Yeah, got a chance to catch up this morning with Jimmy Williams prior to the games getting underway, and I pretty much just asked him, are there going to be changes despite losing to this LR team twice in the regular season? And he said, we're right there. There's a couple adjustments we have to make as Luczynski gets a nice and 1 bucket. But essentially, they're going to play their same style while adjusting to LR's game plan, which seems to be the case, and it's been working out for Anderson, tied with a chance for LR now to reclaim the lead with a Luczynski free throw.
Yeah, and all those three-point attempts was part strategy. I think LR got some good three-point looks in that first half, and so Anderson defensively was trying to limit the paint. And now you're seeing in the second half, Brent Owen's squad really making it a concerted effort to go inside, and that's why Luczynski was able to get an and 1 opportunity.
Luczynski failed on the and 1. Second chance opportunity, an offensive board. Feels like the first time we've seen that today for Anderson.
Yep, it is their first offensive rebound. First time they've had a second chance basket. They make it count.
42-40. Clock is moving at 15 to go. Now into the 14-minute mark. A 3-point shot taken by Tay Smith. It's nothing but nylon. LR back in front, 43-42.
Well, Smith has that ability. He has shown this season, throughout the regular season, he can shoot the long ball. Made 42 in the regular season. He's made 3 now in this game. He's a key piece for this Bears offense.
Rapace loses it. Got his pocket picked by Tay Smith. Other way, Smith just had a 3 ball in the last possession. He'll dish it off to teammate Zaire Wells into Luczynski. He's double teamed. 15 to shoot. Back out Smith, mid-range J, side iron no good. 14-12 to go second half. LR leads 43-42. A.J. Wright directing the offense. Dishes it back off to Dallas Jones. Wright, triple teamed, dishes it off to Webb, 3 ball, side iron, no one's there to grab it, and there's a foul on the floor. against Luczynski, who frankly seems very confused as to what he did wrong.
Yeah, I could give credit to repass here for Anderson. He wasn't in great position for the offensive rebound, but he acted as if he was going to go after that offensive rebound. I think there was enough of a tug and pull from Luczynski that did not allow repass to sprint after that basketball.
Well, Luczynski goes to the bench with 3 personal fouls. Good news for Anderson in the rebounding department. 43-42, a foul is called on the floor as an offensive foul against Cole Middleton.
24, Cole Middleton, his first, third team foul.
So Middleton called on the foul. It's an offensive foul that gives the ball back to LR, who has the lead by 1. A dish off to Dozier. Back out right wing, Hodnett. Tipped pass, stolen by Maccabee. On the fast break, he turns around to slow it down.
Well, that was a Maccabee steal, but A.J. Wright tipped that ball. So he won't get credit for the steal, but he set up that steal opportunity for Maccabee and forced the turnover. They're actually going to give credit to Wright, as they should. That's his 8th steal.
And that matches the all-time tournament high for steals in a game set by Gardner-Webb back in the 90s. It's a tip pass, and Sam Martin just slaps it in, almost volleyball serve style, and is able to build LR back up to a 2-point advantage. Dish off to Wright. Perez. Reeves for 3. No good, and the rebounders are there. It's Zaire Wells. Newcomer of the year and first team All-SAC. Wells gets his pocket picked. Over to Maccabee. Inside, solid block by Sam Martin. Other way we go quickly. Lewis June off glass and in. LR. Now a ball stuck on a turnover. It held up on the rim for what seemed like an eternity. Going the other way. Quick basketball, and Dozier is booked on the foul.
High-level defense, both ends of the floor right now, Tyler, but the better of the defense, it's come from the 2-seeded Bears, who have forced Anderson to not score in 3.5 minutes, and as a result, they've scored 7 straight to build a 5-point lead.
4 Anderson turnovers aiding that as well. It's a 5-point lead for the Bears. The 2 seed in this tournament will step aside here on Flow College at the SAC men's basketball tournament.
That's a timeout on betting. It completely changed the game, and you didn't even notice. Let me break it down for you. Betting ads are applying full court pressure and getting you to play the game. Many of you are falling for it and losing big money. Addiction is happening in some more than others. Now players are getting harassed by bettors. And we all know that's not how the game is won. So it's on us to be good teammates and draw the line to stay ahead of betting consequences.
Back here from Rock Hill, South Carolina, it is a 5-point LR lead, a 7-0 run over a long stretch, Andrew. 3 minutes of time in a 20-minute half. Seems like an eternity, especially for Anderson, who has been struggling to score the basketball recently.
Yeah, it's definitely an extended run right now, and Anderson's not playing bad basketball during this stretch. They're just not converting on this end of the floor. Their defense, 7 points, 3 minutes, you'll live with that, but they need more of that right there.
A chance for a 4-point play. Dallas Jones bottoms a 3-ball. And it's Hans Lewis June who's called on the foul. It's already his third, and now Lewis June is in some foul trouble alongside Luczynski. Jones, 4-point play is good, 47-46.
Well, Jones, Tyler, ended the regular season with back-to-back games with multiple threes, including a 26-point game in the regular season finale against Tusculum. Only time this year he's made multiple threes in 3 consecutive games, counting his effort today.
Foul called, and it seems like the whistles are starting to get a little more common.
Anderson foul, number 0, A.J. Wright Jr. His fourth.
And it's on Wright, and it says fourth. Quickly going to the bench is Jimmy Williams. Austin Webb, the leading scorer for Anderson this season, will come into the game. The senior out of South Point, Ohio, wears number 2 in gold and black.
That's a big foul. Mark it down in your book here. 11:25 when Wright exits with 4 fouls, and we've got an offensive foul on the Bears.
Like I said, the whistle's becoming a lot more common. The foul goes against Zaire Wells.
His first 6th team foul.
Next foul against LR would put Anderson in the bonus.
I like this. No point guard on the floor without Wright, so a little full court pressure, speed up the Trojans. Doesn't lead to a turnover there, but they're late in getting into their offense now because of that full court pressure.
Jones, solid pass. It was a risky one, but Malachi Reeves with the reception. Back out to Jones. Really tight man pressure from the Bears. Bounce pass to Moore. Couldn't find the basket, and it's taken away by LR. Lenore Ryan, their rebounding will make you pay for every missed shot. Cuts inside is Serda. Gets his own rebound, double teamed. Back out to a wide open Hodnet, who can't find the basket. Fight for the rebound belongs to the Trojans. On the other end, a 3-ball for the lead. Couldn't quite get it to fall. It's a fight for the rebound, possession arrow in favor of Anderson, and they will get the jump ball. Possession to Anderson. Clock stopped at 10:21 to go.
Well, Anderson is doing an excellent job here after halftime because remember, we had talked about the offensive rebounds and the second chance points. At halftime, the Bears had 8 boards. On the offensive side, they only had 3 almost halfway through the second half. So you have to be pleased if you're Jimmy Williams, what you've been able to do defensively to limit what Lenore Ryan's been able to do on the offensive glass on some of these missed shots.
Lenore Ryan leading by 1. Opportunity here for Anderson to reclaim the lead. Repass, gets it stolen away. It's Hodnet who dished it off. Lewis June in traffic, looking for options. Back out Smith. Free throw line J. Rattles out. Unlucky bounce, and Anderson takes it away. Physical basketball as we get down the stretch. Maccabee guarded heavily. Serda was right there, and he'll get called on the foul. Serda upset, and Andrew, I could be wrong on my officiating knowledge, but it didn't seem like there was quite too much there for that whistle.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Serda being a little over-aggressive. Yeah, he gets his hand in there. Maybe gets a little bit of Maccabee's wrist, but it's an important foul because now Anderson gets to shoot free throws, and they've attempted 9 already.
It's a 1-and-1. Maccabee sinks his first, a 70% free throw shooter on the year. Only went to the line 17 times this season. Game is tied. Maccabee gives them the lead. Trojans back in front by 1. Big story right now for Anderson. A.J. Wright Jr., 4 personal fouls, a big role player for the Trojans. Currently not in the ballgame for Jimmy Williams' crew. Smith, free throw line, back out Hodnet. Thought about a triple, Lewis June. Inside, rejected. A solid block by Dallas Jones. It's a 5-on-4 as Lewis June slow to get up. 3 from Webb. Side iron, no good. Fight for the rebound, and a foul called on the play.
Well, now Lenore Ryan has gone in a scoring drought. We talked about Anderson's drought that led to an extended Lenore Ryan run, and now the tables have turned once again. A little bit of a scoring drought here for the Bears, who have not made a basket in 3 minutes after a little 7-0 burst they had. And now, credit to Anderson, they've responded with their own little 6-0 burst.
This game has gone back and forth. Both teams have had leads of 5 points or more. Lewis June, an opportunity with a shot. He keeps it in that left wing corner before handing it off to Smith. Lewis June with 8 to shoot. Baseline finally passes out Serra, a solid save, and he'll walk with it. That seemed to be the easiest traveling call some of these officials will ever make.
I am impressed by Anderson's half-court defense right now. This has been textbook defensive work by Jimmy Williams' group. Look how difficult the drive is, and then you force him to stop his momentum, and that's what leads to the travel. But, Tyler, we talked about it in the open. These first 2 meetings in the regular season between these two sides, Lenore Ryan won both, and they were both single-digit games, but they shot 50% or better in both of those wins. They're shooting 38%. You have to give so much credit to the Trojans defensively, and they forced 16 turnovers with still 8 and change to play in this second half.
Anderson looking to pad their lead that currently stands at 1, 48-47. Smith, turnaround jumper is true. First of the half-century mark. The Trojans of Anderson, South Carolina.
See where Brent Owen goes offensively here. You've got Luczynski, who's obviously got a mismatch on anybody that Anderson can put on him.
Luczynski using that height to his advantage. And you brought it up almost like you should be down there on the bench for LR.
It's a high percentage shot. He shoots 62%. Get him in a spot where he can make a easy shot or a tough shot, maybe even look easy with some contest, and he does a good job there on the 8-foot shot.
Through traffic, Wright fouled on the way up. A reminder, Luczynski in a bit of foul trouble with 3. This foul is called on Austin Webb, and that will take us to another timeout. The 7 seed, the 2 seed battling back and forth. It's a 1-point game here in Rock Hill. We'll be excited to see how this one concludes at the SAC Men's Basketball Tournament on Flow College.
At LMU, every door is open. Each can help me build my future exactly how I imagine it. Let's check those specs, guys. And lead to a career where I'll have an impact. As a nurse, how are you feeling today? A social worker.
I guess you started when I was young.
Or an executive of a multinational company. Take a look at the third quarter. I know LMU will prepare me for a career where I'll make my mark. That's a cut. Because whatever door I walk into, there's a
balance. It isn't just essential in your sport, it's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all, because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
It's a close contest, a 1-point lead for Anderson. You take a look back at the last 6 meetings between these two programs, split 3 apiece. Lenore Ryan swept this season's meetings between the Trojans and the Bears. Last season, the 23-24 season, Anderson swept LR and then split the previous 2 meetings before that. So this is a matchup that historically, through the past few meetings, has gone back and forth, and it is the perfect metaphor for the game that we have in front of us, Andrew.
Absolutely, and the previous meetings are obviously different. Now, LR had a different coach last year, Everett Sullivan, and so they've got a new coach, and so that will certainly change things, but it is perfect for how this game has gone, and we expected it to kind of be back and forth. Both teams have really good players, and both teams played well against one another in the regular season. Bears won both of those, but I think Anderson goes back and thinks about those games and probably thought we could have won both of those games if something goes our way, if we do this better, we make this shot or whatnot. So you're seeing a confident and motivated Anderson team, not intimidated by the number 2 seed next to Lenore Ryan's name when you walk in the building.
51-49, going 1 of 2 from the line was A.J. Wright. He went to the line on a Julian Dozier foul. It was his third, and Luczynski comes up empty on the offensive end for Lenore Ryan. 3 ball from Jones. No good. The Trojans looking to play spoiler for the number 2 seeded Bears of Lenore Ryan. Foul on the floor. It is the 6th on Anderson, so no free throws just yet. Dallas Jones booked on his second.
Yeah, and remember, A.J. Wright is defending Dozier, Lenore Ryan's point guard, 0 in white, with those 4 fouls. Expect Dozier to be aggressive and force Wright, and that might have been his 5th. He might have got away with one there. But put some pressure on Wright to defend without fouling here down the stretch.
Would be a big loss if Wright is taken out of the game for Anderson. Luczynski stripped. There's a foul. Who's it on? It's on 20 in Malachi Reeves. Bit of a heart palpitation there for Jimmy Williams as A.J. Wright was in the midst of things. But, yeah, there's the slap. Easy call on Reeves.
Oh, this is several possessions in a row as Luczynski comes up with the first free throw. That LR has gone inside to their 7'2" big man. He's only taken 8 shots, which is a lower mark. And when this offense had been in a drought offensively, they've gone to their big guy, and he's delivered with a couple of good possessions and converts 2 free throws.
For LR, Zaire Wells, although he has not been filling the score sheet, has 10 rebounds already. And Hans Lewis June able to get a steal, lay it in. LR back in front. Anderson working with speed.
It's another just not good. That's a minor mistake. It's a major one because it leads to a basket, but just a little play right there. That goes a long way in a close basketball game. You can't have those little mistakes like that lead to easy buckets this late in the game.
Long possession as the shot clock's in single-digit territory. Middleton just outside the cylinder. Shot no good. Offensive board blocked. And a jump ball called. Possession arrow in favor of Lenore Ryan.
Oh, good job by the Trojans. They crash the glass, get a couple of chances, 4 offensive rebounds now here in the second half, but Webb's got no chance when he tries to go up against the 7-footer Luczynski. He's going to handle that business underneath with his frame all afternoon and all night and even tomorrow too, even if they're not playing.
Anderson has missed 6 of its last 7 shot attempts. LR looking to extend the lead. 3-point shot. Dozier, nothing but nylon. Back to a 5-point advantage for the Bears. Other end triple. Almost got an immediate answer was Malachi Reeves. Instead, he comes up empty. Gets another chance for LR to extend the run. Long 3 from Lewis June. Bounces back iron and goes the way of the Trojans.
Curious to see what Anderson does on this offensive possession. There's still 5.5 minutes, Tyler, but this seems like a big possession.
There's the 3 ball. There's a big answer. A.J. Wright gets his first triple of the game. We're back to a 2-point game that breaks a 7-0 scoring run and a long drought for the Trojans.
It's a big basket. Snaps a 7-0 run, as you say, and also brings it back to a 1-possession game. Want to keep it around there if you're both sides the rest of the way. And
Dozier fouled on the way up. He is absolutely checked by Repass. As said by the public address announcer here, the second foul on Repass, and I mean just comes in like a linebacker, almost a roughing the passer call.
Yeah, no need for that from Repass, and that was a floater from the free throw line, so it was already a difficult shot, but Give credit to Dozier. He's been a playmaker down the stretch. You're seeing both of these point guards utilize their abilities in a multitude of ways. We talked about how good they are as passers, but now their scoring has become critical down the stretch. Both players have gone back and forth here in the last few minutes. Scoreboard's not reflected that made field goal or made free throw. Now it has.
5-point lead. Make it a 6. A 4-point lead. Math is hard sometimes, Andrew.
It's not easy. Not easy. Dozier to the bench now, too, so he'll probably sit until the under 4 timeout, try to spell your point guard a couple of minutes.
Get him some fresh breath. Ball out of bounds. Almost every Bear on the floor threw an arm up in disbelief at the call that it's Anderson basketball. Coming in for Anderson, Cole Middleton back in the game.
We talk about how good LR has been inside with Luczynski and defensively in this game, but there's no let-up when Sam Martin is the 5-man. He's got 4 blocks in this game quietly, so things remain difficult. Even if the 7'2" Luczynski's not on the floor, LR still has good rim protection in the game.
Block attempt turns into a foul on the shot from Dallas Jones, and the sophomore from Gainesville, Florida, will head to the line. Martin called on his second, and 1 foul away from the double bonus are the Trojans.
Dallas Jones has been a really good player for Jimmy Williams in this second half, Tyler, as he makes the first free throw. All of his points in this game are in the second half. He is guy that averages double figures, quiet in the first half, but has been important for this AU offense, really, in his defense as well. Both ends of the floor, he's been impactful and comes up with 2 big ones there.
Jones now a perfect 5 of 5 from the charity stripe today. Brings it back to a 2-point ball game. LR would certainly like to make this a 2-possession game once more. Gabe Serda holds on to the ball for a second before Tace Smith controls. Inside the paint, off glass, bucket good. Sam Martin, excellent passing on that possession.
Yep, good action. Good action there. Did a good job to create a good open look. And once again, LR has had an answer every time Lenore Ryan or Anderson has drawn within 1 possession. LR's been able to answer with some good offense.
Battle to the basket, lays it in, was going for the dunk, and the poster instead gets fouled. The rim takes a favorable turn into the basket. And it's Martin's 3rd. A chance for a free throw to bring it back within 1.
What an elite effort by Dallas Jones. This kid is playing with so much heart down the stretch. What a half of basketball for this kid. 17 points, all in the second half. There's so many different players that have been good for Anderson in this game, but if they end up winning this game, we're going to talk about Dallas Jones, because this is a guy that you don't really, you know he's out there, but he's just another guy that averages 10 points for this team. He's been huge, doing it in both inside the arc and outside the arc.
We'll remind you to tune into our next broadcast. The women's quarterfinals begin. Coker against Limestone next on Flow College here in Rock Hill. A fight towards the basket. Zaire Wells is able to lay it in. Still just a 1-possession game as we get down the stretch. Next whistle will take us to another media timeout. Triple for the tie. Oh, my. Austin Webb buries it, and we're tied at 62s.
That's the threat of this team. Dallas Jones has been huge, and now you've got a guy in Webb that can make threes and averages 14 a game, and he's left wide open.
Chance for LR to reclaim the lead. Hodnett, Luczynski, so tough to guard. That's why they put 2 on him. Back out Dozier, triple, bounce, no. Up the floor, Anderson looks to reclaim the lead. Haven't had it for about 3.5 minutes of game time. Dished off, 3-ball, Webb couldn't find back-to-back. Out of bounds on Tace Smith. The drama continues to build. The storylines continue to interject. And we've got a fun finish here from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. Tied at 62, 2:45 to decide a winner here in Rock Hill on Flow College. Back here from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, Andrew, game tied at 62, 2:45 to go. Somebody has the chance to be a hero.
Yeah, this has been a fun one, Tyler. I mean, we're only in game 2 of the tournament, and we're blessed to have a 62-62 score with 2:45 to go as we look at some statistical numbers. The rebounding battle has come back down a little bit for Anderson. Remember, they were down 13, minus 13 in the rebounding battle. That's only down to 8. Everywhere else, it's relatively split even both ways. At this point in the game, throw the numbers out. Who wins the final 2:45? Who makes more of the winning plays down the stretch?
Brand new ball game, and Anderson gets the possession. Dallas Jones acting as the point guard for Anderson. He'll cut into the paint. Tough matchup against Luczynski. Tried to bat it in. And the tall Illinois native Luczynski takes down the board for LR.
I don't mind the take. I mean, Jones has been the hot guy. He's been very aggressive and effective getting downhill, but unable to convert. Now it's up to LR to see how they can execute.
Luczynski loses the ball, tripped up, whistles swallowed, and Anderson takes it away. 2 to go.
Where both teams have 3 timeouts.
Chance for Jones, inside Middleton, tries to lay it up. He'll get a chance at the free throw line. Double bonus for Anderson. 2 shots coming for the best free throw shooter on this Anderson team, Cole Middleton. Luczynski has 4, best rebounder for Lenore-Rhyne.
Yep, that's really good work right there by Jones and Middleton in the high-low. The reason they throw it into Middleton is because Luczynski was out at the free throw line, so once they got it to him, to Middleton inside, Luczynski was trailing the play, and that's why he commits that foul. He was dragged out of the paint, and that's why Anderson went inside, and eventually it leads to the foul.
Middleton has given Anderson a 1-point lead with a free throw. His second attempt is true. Cole Middleton, 3 of 6 from the charity stripe today. Timeout, Brent Owen. And we'll step aside as well. It's a 2-point lead for Anderson. It's LR ball when we come back. An exciting finish from Rock Hill coming up on Flow College.
At Anderson University, we are on a journey, one that seeks to find the purpose for which God created each and every one of us. So we search, we grow, we dive in, and with a close-knit community, small class sizes, accomplished and supportive faculty, and a spirit that believes that together we can accomplish big things. The person we are striving to become doesn't feel so far away. So we push, we dream, we dig deeper, until our journey finds us as teachers, artists, writers, athletes, engineers, nurses, and friends. And while we're at it, we just might change the world. Anderson University, knowledge for your journey.
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference men's basketball quarterfinals. This game's been going back and forth, and at this point it's almost like flipping a coin to decide who will win this one. Anderson leads by 2 off of 2 free throws from Cole Middleton. It's Lenore-Rhyne basketball with a timeout used by Brent Owen that just took us to the break. Andrew, if you're Brent Owen, what was that timeout used for? What are you telling your team?
Well, you're probably drawing up a set right here. Try to get Luczynski on the block open or see if you can get Zaire Wells getting down hill. He's the all-SAC first teamer, so you've got some options here. Remember, the 3-ball from Dozier and Smith have been effective as well, so everyone on the floor is a threat.
Reminder, winner of this game takes on the winner of Coker and Catawba tomorrow. And Luczynski able to lay it in. We're tied again with 90 seconds to go.
They've got the mismatch in there. Good high-low, very similar to what Middleton and Jones did on the other side. LR goes Wells to Luczynski for the deuce.
I'll remind you that both Luczynski and A.J. Wright for Anderson both have 4 personal fouls. Both are in the ball game with 1:10 to go. Taking their time are the Trojans. Wright burst into the paint. He loses the ball. It's out of bounds. The point was towards Zaire Wells, and we'll take this one to official review, the first of our second quarterfinal today. We'll see who this was last touched by. Oh, it's a tough angle to tell.
That is extremely tough.
The last I saw the ball on our monitor here, it hit off the thigh of Zaire Wells. I just don't know if Wright got another finger on it.
A.J. Wright got caught in the air, and that's what leads to this sequence. He left his feet, had thought about a layup, and then tried to pass it off, and that's what it gets deflected around there. Credit Lenore Ryan defensively for handling A.J. Wright on his drive here, and we'll get a look, see if there's anything that's definitive of what happens here.
Yeah, there's the hit off the thigh. Now coming down, did Wright hit it with his rib cage? We'll get a better look here possibly. Oh, it looks like it's off that knee of Wright.
I agree with you.
I would take a look, if you're looking at the monitor alongside us, take a look at the right knee of A.J. Wright as he comes down. It'll hit off the thigh right there, and then the right knee right there of A.J. Wright is where it goes out. I believe this is Lenore Ryan basketball.
The only question I'll have is, does Zaire Wells touch this and is out of bounds before it then hits Wright's leg?
You raise a good point there.
Because he is out of bounds when he defends A.J. Wright there. So if there's contact with the ball and Wells is standing out of bounds, it's off Lenore Ryan, and nothing else matters after that. So I do believe Wright hits that last, but do the officials have enough, and do they think Wells was out of bounds when he made contact with that ball?
Come to a decision. Oh, nope, they're just getting a different opinion, bringing in the third official of our crew today.
And this is a critical one, so you want them to take as long as they need to. I mean, there's 63 seconds left in a game tied at 64, so we don't need to be here all day, but we got to get it right.
We'll remind you again that the winner of this game will play again on Thursday in the second semifinal against the winner of tomorrow's 2:30 game between third-seeded Coker and sixth-seeded Catawba. And it will be Lenore Ryan basketball. So it's exactly what we saw, just hit off the knee of A.J. Wright. And it's LR ball with 1:03 to go. You got to think one more possession for both sides, barring, fouls and stuff like that.
I expect Lenore Ryan to do a little high-low action. Wells and Luczynski. Put the ball in the hands of your all-SAC first-teamer Wells. If he can't make a play, look inside on the block where Luczynski's got several inches on a mismatch with Middleton.
Decimal points on the scoreboard. Wells, heavily guarded by Maccabee. Make that Reeves.
Got the switch.
Dozier has been the point man. Back to Smith. He's been a hot hand. Mid-range, Jay. Front iron, no good. Gets his own rebound. That clock resets heavily into LR's favor. Timeout, Brent Owen. So just to reset the floor here, 32 seconds remain. Well, 31.7, round up to 32. 16 on the shot clock. You essentially now have 16 seconds for both teams.
Yep, and that's dependent on whether or not Lenore Ryan Anderson gives up another offensive rebound. That's a big effort play by Tay Smith. He follows his shot after you miss it, and that's something you're taught once you grab a basketball in your young years. When you shoot that thing, follow your shot, and that's what Smith does right there. to get an extra opportunity. That's just their 4th offensive rebound, but if Lenore Ryan scores on this possession, it's the biggest one of the game.
Anderson and Lenore Ryan tied at 64. A game that has been dominated by a wealth of scoring on both sides. 4 of the 5 starters for Lenore Ryan are in double figures. Actually make that 3 starters plus Luczynski off the bench in double figures. It's a unlikely candidate, Dallas Jones, who's leading the team for Anderson with 17. Sam Perez has 11. All of those came in the first half, however. 1 timeout left for Lenore Ryan, 3 for Anderson as we're back underway with that clock moving down. Luczynski got poked, retains possession, under 10 to shoot.
Got to do something.
Dozier with 3, free throw line, no good. Luczynski rebound, shot clock is off. Smith cuts inside. He'll hold, and I believe LR will wait for the final shot of the game.
Yep.
Timeout, Brent Owen. Oh, man. 7 seconds to go. Tie game. Shot clock off. Lenore Ryan ball.
Well, we mentioned it at 31 seconds when Lenore Ryan got the first offensive rebound and burned a timeout. They get another offensive rebound on a bad miss by Dozier. There's Luczynski. Wisely, instead of going up with a shot, he pulls it out to reset. And again, Jimmy Williams talked about it at halftime. Brent Owen talked about it at halftime. Rebounding was going to be critical. That's what's led to Lenore Ryan getting all the chances to win this game in the last 60 seconds. They got the ball with a minute left in this game, and they have not let Anderson touch it and have a possession. So if they can convert in the half court here, it's all these extra chances that'll obviously be the difference. The question is now, Tyler, can Anderson defend another possession in the half court against the Bears?
Lenore Ryan shooting 41% from the field, both inside and outside the arc. Anderson on the other end shooting about the same, 38% inside and out. Lenore Ryan looking for a hero to send the Bears to the semifinals on Thursday. The question is, who will it be, and can they get the job done?
I expect Zaire Wells to have the basketball in his hands. I'm also expecting somebody to drive downhill with this basketball. Brent Owen does not want his guys, I don't think, to settle for a jump shot. Put the ball on the floor, put some pressure on Anderson's defense inside to defend without fouling here down the stretch. Got to be Wells.
Both Wells and Luczynski, 5 of 9 from the field. Here we go for the Bears. Timeout Anderson. They wanted to see how LR set up before taking the timeout for Jimmy Williams. He didn't use his use it or lose it in the first half. So this is the first timeout called by Jimmy Williams all day.
Yep, and LR has none left. So unless Sanderson burns another timeout after this one, that's a full timeout, then it's going to be game on. But Tyler, I mean, we knew this coming in. 2-7 matchup. Throw the numbers and the seeds out of this one. We considered this one a 3-6, a 4-5. Even though the regular season records may differ because of what LR's done, 23-5 compared to Anderson's 16-12. But with how the regular season meetings went, how competitive Anderson has been this year, you knew they were not going to go down in this game without a fight and put some pressure and a lot of game pressure on Lenore Ryan. And it's delivered. What we thought would happen in a close game, it has lived up to that so far.
Andrew, quickly, I know you've been in situations like this in a close game, tournament time, win or lose and go home. What is that feeling like on the bench for both these teams? Late game scenario in a tie game.
Well, certainly there's a lot of nerves, especially if you're Anderson, because you don't have the chance to win this game. LR has the chance to win this game, presuming they don't turn it over, and then Anderson goes and scores the ball. But Anderson has the task, and they're going to have to do another spectacular job to force LR into a tough shot. But they're more than capable of it. We've seen elite defense from these Trojans all day.
Here we go. Dozier, the inbound to Lewis June. 5 to go. Turning around, jumper, Lewis June, no good. Porn sounds, no basket. Overtime in Rock Hill in the 7-2 quarterfinal.
I'm not a big fan of that possession, Tyler. They didn't get anybody downhill. Luis June gets stuck at the right wing and just has to heave something up. He gave it a good effort on the turnaround, but after 2 timeouts, Bears just did not have anything set up. And give credit to Anderson. They blew up what LR was trying to do on that sequence. They couldn't get anything downhill. Luis June was stuck, and that's what leads to the heave from the right wing. So, we got 14 games this week. We might as well play, more basketball while we're here.
Well, everyone getting treated to free basketball, both here at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center and our viewers on Flow College. We appreciate you for sticking with us through 40 minutes of basketball. Not enough to decide who was the winner in round 3 between the Bears and the Trojans. Lenore Ryan had a chance with 7 seconds to go. Couldn't quite hit the shot from Hans Lewis June. There will be another tip-off prior to the beginning of the overtime period. And Andrew, you mentioned it. Second game of 14 that we'll have here in Rock Hill. Might as well go to the extra period, get that out of the way, rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. And who doesn't love some overtime basketball in the quarterfinals? Usually you'd think, semifinals, championship, you get some extra basketball. But here we are, blessed with it in the quarterfinals. Had an overtime game last season in the South Atlantic Conference Men's Basketball Championship with a 3-seed Catawba defeating the 1-seed Lincoln Memorial 61-60. So now back-to-back years here in Rock Hill we'll have overtime basketball. First time the conference tournament on the men's side has back-to-back seasons of overtime games since 2017 and 2018. So
Anderson has participated in 1 overtime game this year. It was a win against Wingate in double overtime, 108-97. There was a big overtime game for Lenore Ryan against Carson-Newman. Got swept by the Eagles in the regular season, did Lenore Ryan, in a double overtime thriller in which the Bears fell in Hickory.
Yep, won their first overtime game of the year, so this is their 4th overtime game now. They beat Catawba back on December 4th on the road in overtime, but have lost their last 2 overtime games. So both teams have overtime experience. They've had to play in these high-level, high-leverage games down the stretch. See who prevails.
LR 1-2, Anderson 1-0 using the extra period. LR gets the opening possession after the jump ball. Under 10 to shoot, back out to Lewis June. He'll dish it back out to Smith, who takes a mid-range jumper and buries it.
It's tough.
A 2-point lead for the Bears. Anderson's first possession of the overtime period. He turns it around. Back out, off the glass, lays it in is Cole Middleton. 2 possessions, 4 points, 2 for each side.
Really good job there from A.J. Wright. He navigates the ball screen with Middleton, goes all the way around the painted area underneath the cup and circles around to find Middleton open. Drew Luczynski away from the basket.
Smith, 3-ball, no. Under 4 to go in the overtime period. You'll typically see in the overtime, you get to that final minute a lot faster than you think. Right. Rolls right. 2-point shot, airballs it.
Like the look.
He had a good look, just couldn't quite put enough power on it, and I believe it was to the left as well.
You're going to see a lot of half-court offense in this overtime. You're not going to see so much up and down that we would see at points in regulation. Both of these teams are going to have to execute in the half court. So it's going to come down to who rebounds the ball, like we talked about at halftime, but who executes better in the half court here offensively. Not LR that time.
Lewis June, pocket picked, feeding pass, right, Reeves, back over. It hits right in the nose, and a foul is called.
Well, maybe too unselfish play that time, Tyler. They had the numbers in transition. Luckily, they'll get fouled underneath, but 3-on-1 break. You'd love to see them finish this on the drive.
Julian Dozier, big role player for Lenore Rhine. We've said his name a lot today. He's got 15. LR's leading scorer now has 4.
Yeah, both point guards with 4 fouls. But give credit to A.J. Wright. He's had 4 fouls since the 11.5 mark of the second half. So he's been able to play through it.
He's played a clean game, and he'll go to the stripe. 75% free throw shooter is A.J. Wright, the Clearwater High School alum out of Tampa, Florida. Sinks the first, gives Anderson its first lead of the overtime period. If this is the first game you're tuning into, well, you've picked a good one to join our coverage at as Maccabee checks in. Earlier today, Lincoln Memorial, the #1 overall seed, took down Wingate 85-67 to advance to the quarterfinal on the opposite side of the bracket of our game here. Misses the back end, and it's just a 1-point lead. A reminder that fouls carry over from the second half into the overtime period. A shot blocked. Now the foul is called. And it will go against Dallas Jones, the leading scorer for Anderson. His third, so in the overtime period, you don't really consider that too much of foul trouble. So not that much of a concern for Jimmy Williams and the Anderson coaching staff with Jacob Lawrence, the assistant. And the first shot is true. Zaire Wells, 71% from the line. Hillcrest Prep alum from Queens, New York. Sam Martin checks back in. The starter for LR has only garnered 19 minutes thus far. Second shot is good. LR back in front by 1. Jones from well beyond the arc, waiting for a play to develop. He'll dish it off Middleton. Cuts into the paint, loose ball. It's a fight for it. Arrows in favor of Anderson. And timeout. Jimmy Williams was jumping in the official's face. The jump ball was called, so the arrow in favor of the Trojans. I believe both coaches there were screaming for a timeout.
As they should be. Anytime the ball's on the deck, yeah. No, it's a scrum, and neither team usually has possession, so if you can get a timeout with a possession, it's critical.
3 to shoot for Anderson. Critical shot clock. Puts it up. Shot clock violation.
Shot clock violation.
68-67, Lenore Rhine in front. Feels like everybody's heart rate has been elevated for the past 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, Gris is great defense by Sam Martin. Stays vertical, blocks Jones's shot while staying vertical. Does so without fouling. That's critical.
Goes up. Dozier blocked. Other way, Maccabee. Handoff right. Play developing underneath, instead stays beyond the arc. All 5 Trojans beyond the arc, except for Middleton, who's setting screens. Maccabee, now the pass to Middleton. Plays developing. 5 to shoot. Jones gets inside. The rim rejects him.
Numbers.
Power play for the Bears. Defense catches up. Corner 3, side iron, offensive rebound. Back out Smith, and he'll send it back all the way to the baseline. And that was a big mistake there for the Bears. Now there's an inbound on the Anderson offensive baseline.
Yep, and the shot clock will be at 20 because Anderson inbounds in the front court here. Not that it should matter, but Anderson has gone deep into clocks, and AU will burn a timeout here. But give credit. Both of these defenses are playing elite, are at an elite level in this overtime period. Neither team's made a field goal in almost 3 minutes, and it's nip and tuck down there, Tyler. It's not easy for either one of these teams to get a clean look. The half-court defense has been superb, and when you're in the late 60s in overtime, that's all you needed to say when you talk about South Atlantic Conference basketball, because these two teams average more than 80 points per game both. And you see all the defensive numbers, the rebounding battle, the turnovers that have been forced. and the low shooting percentages, much lower than the 2 regular season meetings between these two teams. Who does that favor? It favors Anderson because they gave up 50% shooting in the 2 losses to LR, and they've limited LR to 41% shooting in this game. So it's favored AU, and that's why the 7th seed is forced overtime.
No matter what, it is a well-deserved victory for either of these two schools. Whoever ends up on top. We'll reset the floor for you. 92 seconds to go. It's a 1-point LR lead. Anderson ball in the South Atlantic Conference men's basketball tournament quarterfinals for a spot to play on Thursday at 2:30 in the second semifinal. Anderson, a bucket, would reclaim the lead for the Trojans. Right, turns around, Middleton in traffic, blocked, foul called. Middleton back to the line, and it's Miller called on the foul.
Really good work here, Tyler. A.J. Wright navigates
Wells
the middle and then finds Middleton, who does a good job to pump fake. He gets a couple of bears in the air and goes up to draw the foul. But it's all set up because of what A.J. Wright did to get him that basketball in the painted area.
It's only Wells' second foul, so no trouble for him. First free throw from Middleton is true to tie our game at 68. Cole Middleton, despite being the best free throw shooter coming into this game, is just 4 of 7 from the line. Make it 5 of 8. And the lead belongs to the Trojans. Luczynski with 4 fouls re-enters the game. He'll have to be careful on the defensive side of the ball. We'll see if the Bears go to his big presence in the paint. Cutting inside is Wells. Foul called. Count the basket and 1. Zaire Wells with a big bucket.
Big-time players, Tyler. You know what they do. They make big-time plays. That is a huge answer from Wells. And give credit to Middleton. He did the best he could when you've got a guy like Wells in his 6'6" frame sprinting at you downhill with a dribble. But that's just hard to defend. Good work from Wells.
Both teams are in the double bonus down the stretch. The and 1 opportunities, no good, so it's still just a 1-point advantage for the higher seed Lenore Rhine.
How does Anderson come up with a basket here? They just have 1 in overtime.
Wright comes inside. No good. Second chance opportunity. Will they get a third? Rare third chance for Anderson. Shot by Maccabee. 3-ball. Air balls. 4th chance. They won't get a chance. Out of bounds. And a foul called. Excuse me.
Middleton, I think, just simply displaced Junior Hodnett going for this rebound on the left side of your screen. Yep, clear. Not a whole lot, but enough where Middleton just moved Hodnett out of the way to grab that rebound, and now it comes down to free throws. But still, only a 1-point game, 49 seconds. So Anderson's not out of this game yet. LR still has to put him away.
Regardless of what happens here on the free throw attempts, it will remain a 1-possession game.
Yep.
Hodnett at the line out of Rio Rancho, New Mexico, one of those transfers that came alongside Brent Owen. His first shot rattles out. Big free throw miss there. Anderson knows at the very least they will have a 2-point basket to tie or take the lead. Second shot, no good.
Oh boy.
Still a 1-possession game. Shot clock is on, so LR guaranteed another possession without an offensive rebound from the Trojans. Wright dishes it off. For pass. Had his pocket picked, and he fouls Dozier.
Another great defensive play, Tyler. Anderson's made 1 basket in overtime, and it's because of the activity with all 5 white jerseys on a string defensively. Good work by Sam Martin. He back taps, repass as he tries to get to the middle of the paint. That's what leads to the turnover. Both teams are trying their best to make big plays, but the defenses continue to shine. And another missed free throw.
Oh, boy. That's 3 in a row from the Bears. And again, on the free throw, you know if you're Anderson with nearly a full shot clock, either a 2 will tie or take the lead.
Yep. Not a surprise, I guess, that LR's missed some free throws. They finally get one here. They're 12th in the league in the regular season, only shooting 68%. Won't matter if their defense shines again here.
30 to go in the overtime period. Shot clock and game clock separated by just 1 second. Inside, layup is true for Austin Webb. 20 seconds for Lenore Ryan. Both teams have a timeout, and it's used by Jimmy Williams.
Oh, what a play. What a half-court set right here from Jimmy Williams' team. When they needed a basket, A.J. Wright sets it up. What a back cut from Austin Webb, and there's no rim protection on the backside because of how good of a cut that is from Webb. They isolated him on the opposite wing, and Wright delivers a beautiful pass. And, well, here we are again. We were here at the end of regulation. LR had multiple chances to take the lead and win the game, and they failed. They get another fourth opportunity in a first overtime here.
Well, the difference is a little more time on the clock this time around for the Bears. I'll have a correction. Timeout was called by Brent Owen of Lenore Ryan, not by Jimmy Williams and Anderson. LR basketball out of timeouts, 16 seconds to go. Anderson looking to upset the 2-seed Lenore Ryan Bears, but will need to make a stop on this possession for LR, who look to punch their ticket to play again on Thursday.
I will say, Tyler, I do think LR runs a little bit of time, because if you go too early, it gives Anderson a chance to counter what you do on offense. So expect LR to probably make and start this sequence about 8 seconds.
Inbound pass, Dozier.
He
will burn some clock.
Yep, and about 8. Yep, here we go.
Under 10 to go. The handoff. Wells cuts inside. Back out Smith. Mid-range Jay. Good with 2 to go. Tay Smith puts LR in front with 2 on the clock. Timeout, Jimmy Williams.
He has made tough shots all afternoon, and that one is so tough because Maccabee is right there on him, and Tay Smith just elevates over the Trojan defender and says, Tyler, I've got ice in those veins.
Tay Smith, one of the few seniors on this roster, coming up with a big play in his final season. Smith has 15 today. Lenore Ryan 2 seconds away from punching their ticket to Thursday's semifinal. The officials are looking at the scorer's table to see exactly how much time is on the clock. Anderson does have a possession. It's going to be a tough possession. You know LR is going to have that smothering defense and try to force a bad shot.
Yep, and with 2 seconds, Tyler, that probably gives you 2 dribbles max. I think it guarantees a catch, a dribble, and a shot with 2 seconds. We'll see if they add any more. I don't think they'll subtract any time. So at the very least, Anderson's going to be able to catch the ball and shoot it. I don't think they have time for a catch, pass, and shoot. So that's the critical part here. Whoever gets the inbound will have to do something with the ball pretty quickly. And because it's a timeout, it does not advance into the front court like it would in the women's game. So Anderson does have to still inbound this all the way in the backcourt.
Clock does not change. The scoreboard operator got it perfect at 2 on the dot.
That's why they're here.
Big time plays, big time game ops.
Exactly. We've got it all in our second game.
The inbound will come from Caleb Maccabee. A Hail Mary pass with 4 Trojans down the court. He's allowed to run the baseline. The throw in, tipped, and it's held by LR. The Bears ticket punched. They're going to Thursday's semifinal, 73-71 in overtime. The Bears come out on top in a back-and-forth affair. And Andrew, we mentioned it the entire game, the team who won, no matter who, was going to deserve it.
Absolutely, and both teams gave it all they had. It was an elite effort defensively by both of these squads, but ultimately Tay Smith was just better than Anderson's defense on that one possession. Credit Anderson here. They draw up a nice little play. They try to get Cole Middleton at the right wing, isolated. Pass was a little too high for him, and there was 2 white jerseys there. But you hate to see 2 teams lose, or one of these 2 teams lose because of what a high-level basketball game this was. Both teams deserve to win. They also, at times, both deserve to lose with how the turnovers played out, the tough shooting performances at times, but ultimately you give credit to number 2 seed Lenoir-Rhyne. Sometimes throughout the year it hasn't been pretty, but there's a reason you've got the coach of the year right there, Brent Owen. There's a reason they've won 23 games in the regular season. It's because they find ways to win. And Tay Smith, and he's got Tay Smith, that helps too.
Now, unfortunately for Anderson, having to say goodbye to Austin Webb, Case Roach, Wade Pierce, Jackson Greco, and Ian Thompson, their 5 seniors, as they'll huddle up under the basket one more time. We're going to get a chance to speak with Brent Owen in his first year at Lenoir-Rhyne, the 3rd member of our crew, Adam Cavalier, currently getting with Brent Owen to have a quick conversation. The Bears, overtime winners, 73-71, the final score over the Trojans of Anderson. Credit to Anderson, a game well played. We'll send it down to Adam Cavalier, standing by with Lenoir-Rhyne head coach Brent Owen.
All right, thank you very much, Tyler Katz. Brent, my goodness. Break down the final play, a Tay Smith bucket with 3 seconds left that propels you onto the SAC semifinals.
Yeah, actually, it was the shot was made by Tay. It was actually a great play by Zaire Wells. They collapsed the entire paint on him. Tay Smith's wide open. He made the right pass. Tay's worked on that shot a million times, and it's beautiful to see a senior have a moment like that where it pays off in March.
This was a game, I don't think either team led by more than 4 in the second half. Felt destined for overtime. Break down your team's poise down the stretch. Had some moments there, especially at the end of regulation. Felt like you had the basketball for the final minute of the game, came up empty, but maintained poise in overtime to get the job done in the bonus period.
Yeah, just really proud. In March, it doesn't matter, right? Like, win ugly. It doesn't matter, and you're going to have to win some games ugly. We certainly were not our best today. But found a way to beat a really good Anderson team. I have so much respect for Coach Williams and the job that he does. They were prepared. They were fighting. That also says a lot about him. They wanted to keep playing. They didn't want to go home yet. So, but just really, really proud of our guys. And it's beautiful to come out on the winning side of that. And now we can go and watch some film, and it's a teachable moment on a positive note. That's what you want. This time, actually, what you want is a 20-point win. But if not, I'll take that, and I'll take the teaching moment. And but just proud of our guys for finding a way.
By virtue of being the 2 seed, you get the break, 48 hours. You await the winner of tomorrow's 2:30 game between 3rd-seeded Coker, 6th-seeded Catawba, 2 teams that enjoy causing a ton of chaos. What's the next 48 hours like for this crew as you await the winner of that game?
Yeah, number 1 is rest, right? That's what we've earned. We've earned the day off, and so we'll get these guys to the training room. We'll get them healed up, and we'll come back over here and scout the game tomorrow. Our guys will watch it back in Hickory. We're going to go back home tonight. And then, just prepare for another battle. Those 2 really good teams. We've had some great – we had a game winner at the buzzer with Coker. We had an overtime win at Catawba. So this league just keeps coming at you, and that's what March is all about.
All right, Brent, thanks for the time. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
All right, Tyler, let's head back upstairs to you.
Appreciate it, Adam. With head coach Brent Owen as Lenoir-Rhyne takes a 73-71 overtime victory. Brent Owen said it best. This is March. Andrew, what are your final takeaways from this one?
Wins are wins. Doesn't matter how ugly, doesn't matter what statistics don't or do favor you. If you've got a win and you've got more points than your opponent, you're doing something right at this time of the year. And give credit to Tay Smith. Good moment for him to hit that game-winning shot in the first overtime of this basketball game, and it just highlights how effective the number 2 seed Lenoir-Rhyne was as a collective group in this game. 4 different guys scored in double digits, and 3 of them had at least 15, with Julian Dozier leading the way with his 16 points in this game, and he made 4 threes. So high-level basketball, and we saw it from Lincoln Memorial to start the day. On the one side, they had to battle some adversity early on, eventually pulled away from Wingate. And now LR shows its abilities and flashes its muscles a little bit. Even though it wasn't a pretty game, you get the win, you move on, and what do they always say, survive and advance this time of the year.
We are under half an hour away from tip-off of the women's quarterfinals. The Coker Cobras have taken the floor. The Limestone Saints have taken the floor. Our next broadcast coming up in about 25 to 30 minutes here on Flow College. For all of our cameramen and women this week, as well as our replay operator, Jay West, director, Ian Johnson, Adam Cavalier, the third member of our crew, and on graphics all day today with my color commentator, Andrew Rogers. I'm Tyler Katz saying so long from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. One more time, your final score. The 2-seed Lenore Ryan Bears, 73. The 7-seed Anderson Trojans, 71 in overtime. Stay tuned. More SAC basketball tournament action coming at you on Flow Sports all week.